Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our Golf DFS show. This is the place where we are just some guys that like to talk golf, drink beer, gamble. Kyle, I get it right?
Yeah, you're getting better at it. A little more natural this time.
All right, yeah, we'll keep working on it. A few more shows, a few more intro reps here. My name is Mike. Got Kyle and Jordan here on Tuesday, January 31st. We're going to talk Pebble Beach. We're going to talk Torrey Pines. And I got a couple of other good nuggets. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. I'm back. You know, it's still January, but not really anymore in my world. So, hey, back to the hitting on all three cylinders in your intro, Mike.
You gave us good advance notice that you would be drinking on Tuesday, January 31st.
Yeah, it's basically February.
Basically, I mean, what months have 31 days? Come on.
All right, so I know, Kyle, you don't like to we get to Tuesday, I feel like the stories start coming out on Monday, and by the time we get to Tuesday night to record, everything has just been kind of like churned through from the golf media standpoint.
Yeah.
But there's one that I know is not what we were talking about pre-pod, but I had a little nugget to add that the golf media wasn't picking up on. So Max Homa, right? You see the story about Max Homa going and playing the Papago Monday Skins game over in Scottsdale. Yeah. And right, we know the story. We saw it on social media. He cleans up $400, beats a bunch of struggling pros, and takes a few $100 out of their pocket. And I'm thinking, like, God, this course sounds familiar. And so I texted my father-in-law to confirm that I went on a Scottsdale trip with like my father-in-law and his buddies, I don't know, like 10 years ago. And we played this golf course. And I did not think this was a place that like sticks hung out. This was almost like a semi-muni. We like stepped off the plane and it's right in Scottsdale. And he reminded me that I literally did step off the plane and I went 5 under after 15 holes. And then I didn't sniff 85 the rest of the week that we were there. And apparently ASU has since exited Karsten Creek and has made Papago their like home course, and they've redone it and all that. So there are a bunch of sticks that hang out there and not scrubs like me that walk off an airplane and find the local muni. So anyways, I thought it was cool. I played that golf course.
Can we talk about how that was most definitely a golf trip before kids? Because you chose
100%.
to go with your father-in-law and his friends. And now you would never know, I don't know if you're listening, father-in-law, but you would never go on that trip because you get like 1 or 2 now that you have kids. Like,
and you are exactly right.
Waste time away with your father-in-law and his friends.
That was definitely like hey, we need an extra guy to fill this out. Are you available in 2 weeks? And it was like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I think it was like over my birthday too. Yeah. Speaking of which, I just got back from my 1 weekend, which is my annual buddies ski trip. And so I know what it means to kind of keep those things sacred.
Yeah. Question. But we're going to have to cancel that soon and change it to a summer golf trip. Because if you get 1 weekend, for sure. Like, do you do a podcast?
One golf.
Skiing with
one
them?
Golf, 1 ski weekend. No.
Oh, okay. Two. So you get two weekends away.
I have a question. You were 5 under through 15. What happened in the last 3 holes?
No, I didn't. There's a reason I didn't tell you what happened on the last 3, but I think it included a double and a bogey. I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say, what Max won with like 5 under, right?
He did. I know. I don't think we're playing the same tees.
Yeah,
I was trying to get
your father-in-law doesn't play the tips.
Yeah. All right. Next topic, Kyle. I know you got some good stuff on this one. So, we're going to Pebble Beach this week, and we'll get to the preview. And I'll just remind my dad, if he's listening again, that I'm still thinking about his promise for high school graduation that we would go to Pebble Beach and play. And it's costing him more and more every year we don't go. But Pro-Am week. Think about this. Okay, you're and I know I said PGA Tour stud in the notes, but just imagine you're a guy that's showing up like, and you got a chance at doing well, right? You're not a scrub that's out there that's just hoping for some PVO this week, but you actually got a chance at doing well. Maybe you got a chance to win, and everybody's got to play with an amateur. What kind of draw do you want?
So I have a question before we deep dive into this. Do we know anything about the process?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Well, I know Jordan's answer. He was to be Harry Hall this week.
Who's Harry
It's
Hall
Harry
playing?
Hall. He gets to play with Kira Dixon.
I don't know who that is, but she sounds attractive. You can't have a Kira that's not attractive.
She's like the Golf Channel sideline reporter, right?
Oh,
Yeah. So I figured you're part of the Ben Taylor and Harry Hall group with Thomas Keller and Kira Dixon.
would it be funny because I don't know who Harry Hall is either?
Oh, you should know who Harry Hall is.
You-
Harry Hall.
He's not the singer from One Direction.
Yeah.
But I was asking about how this works because I feel like whoever did it doesn't maximize the pairings for viewing or anything like that. So you have like Steve Young, you have Alex Smith, you have Buster Posey, some sports well-known names, and they're paired with Austin Eckroat, Wesley Bryan, and Nick Watney. But to answer your question, Mike, I guess to go to one of your favorites, I would be EVR. Because this week he gets to play with Michael Walrath. In case you don't know who that is, he's the CEO of Yext.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Me either.
Sounds like wasn't that what was the Yellow Pages replacement? That was Dex, right?
Dex. No, this is Yext.
Yeah.
My favorite part. So I go look up Mr. Michael Walrath and his Wikipedia page. Yes, he has one. At the very top, this article contains wording that promotes the subject in a subjective manner without imparting real information. He wrote his own Wikipedia page, I'm pretty sure.
So I guess what I'm not sure, and I can't find while we're doing this, is if the pairings are random or if there is preference. But I think what I'm trying to get at, Kyle, is like, do you want a big time celebrity as your partner that's going to draw a crowd? Do you want a jokester like Bill Murray that's going to maybe keep you loose? Do you want a hack? Do you want a good golfer? Like, you're trying to win the golf tournament this weekend on the PGA Tour. What's going to help you?
I think it depends on your game. Maybe you need somebody to keep you loose. Maybe you want to be Lonzo Griffin and play with Macklemore. And that's how he is in the sheet.
You got to find the happy medium. Like you don't want to be paired with Bill Murray if you want to win the tournament.
No, you want to be.
I don't think so.
Spieth plays with Jake Owen every year, right? Somebody he knows well. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So he must. So if he plays with them every year, he must have a choice then.
There's some people obviously get choices, but then some must just be random pairings. That's why it really didn't make sense to me as I reviewed this. They got Ray Romano playing with Jordan's boy, is that Sheng Do?
No. How do you do last week?
He made the cut. He made the cut.
I changed it to Tyson Alexander because of you.
Yeah, and then you have Garrick Higo playing with Schoolboy Q Groovy in the same group with Lonzo Griffin and Macklemore. So
that.
So I know. Where was it? The Valero Texas Open. I've had a friend play in that one, and they actually did like a draft the night before it started with all. So they do these big events, and it's all the amateurs, and maybe not the night before because that would be a little crazy, but like they would do a draft, and you get to pick, right? If you get picked first, you get to pick the golfer you want to golf with.
That's for the Wednesday sponsor Pro-Am. Yeah. Just a 1 day deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the very least, I would want, if I'm the pro, I want a partner that is not a total hack.
Yes.
But I also don't want someone that might beat me.
Fair.
I actually think you'd be okay with that. Because
is Marty Fish in the field as a AM?
Jake Owen is playing. I think Jake Owen has teed it up in a Corn Ferry event. Like he might beat Spieth on any given day.
So your boy Tom Hoagie plays with something called Brent Handler. Should I know who that individual is? He's an American entrepreneur. So if you're a lower level guy, to flip your question, Mike, if you're someone that you don't expect to win, and maybe are borderline staying on the tour, maybe you want to play with one of these financial guys to try to pick up some tips.
Or maybe you want do some networking for your for your PGA Tour flame out second career.
I mean, this guy is an American entrepreneur, works in destination club industry. This seems like a perfect guy for Tommy Tables. He's the founder CEO of Inspirito, a private luxury destination club.
Yeah, this sounds like maybe Tommy might have met him at one of his locations.
Yeah,
he founded Exclusive Resorts.
Tommy is definitely one of those guys that signed up for a timeshare and now can't get out of
it. unless he invites the CEO to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good stuff. I usually don't pay too much attention to the AMs, but I think this year I might have to take a peek to see what kind of vibes they're going to put on my plays for this week.
But so we talked about this last year before we move on quick. It's 25 to 30 grand to play in the Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not unobtainable. I mean, it's a lot of cash. No. But like, if you're in retirement and we all do well in our careers, like, I may keep a car for an extra 2 or 3 years to sign up for the AT&T Pro-Am. Right?
Yeah, that's basically like a Pebble Beach trip doesn't cost you much more.
Yeah. So you play all 3 courses?
Yeah.
You
all 3 courses and a weekend, like caddy, like you're dropping $5,000 anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, there we go.
I would love to go play with Nick Watney.
It's a different vein than that, but it kind of plays off it. Mayo goes on a rant this week, and I really agree with him. But why do we waste Pebble Beach on this event?
It's the legacy, the clam bake.
Well, yeah, just do it at Spyglass Hill and Monterey Peninsula, and keep Pebble for something, even if it's just every couple of years. It's just Yeah.
I will say, so I've never played at them, but my brother played at all 3 of them and said Spyglass is by far the better course.
Interesting.
Pebble is you get the view, so everyone's blown away. But he's like, Spyglass is the best course I've ever played.
I always liked playing Spyglass on Tiger Woods, like 98 or whatever it was.
All right. Do you want to talk about beers real quick, and then we'll quickly do the farmers recap?
Yep.
I'll start with a brewery that I haven't had in a long time, but I brought this back from Montana because I found it in the grocery store. And this is Rogue, one of my long favorite breweries. I've been to the flagship in Oregon. Combat Wombat. This is a sour New England IPA. So it's a New England IPA that's just a tiny bit tart. I actually think it's really good.
I don't know what to think about that. Don't know if I would, that'd be my jam, but maybe that feels like could pair with some good smoked ribs or something. Maybe.
Tart with barbecue?
Yeah, you gotta play off each other. I don't know. I'm trying to help you out there. I have Junkyard Brewing, drink them a lot on the pod, but how bizarre. It's pretty good. And that's probably not just because I haven't had a good beer in a month, but yeah.
It's amazing how that changes your perception, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If your first beer in a Coors Light, you're like, ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Towards the end, even some of the NAs tasted good. I'm pretty sure I would not think so now. But
I found this gem. Weldwerks Brewing and Blackstack did a collab. It's the Fadeaway, Perfect. I don't really understand the name. Fadeaway, Perfect. Cool name, but it's delicious. It's a double IPA. Weldwerks is out of Colorado. I don't know. I hadn't seen it here before, but MGM now had 2 different 4-packs that I picked up both of.
Yeah, you can find the regular. What's the regular IPA, Mike?
Juicy Bits. That's the other one I got.
Yeah, you've been able to find that for about a year or so, but I have never seen that one. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's good. Good.
All right. Well, I was not able to get off the chairlift fast enough, or should I say, I was not able to get out of après fast enough to see the finish on Saturday of the Farmers Insurance Open. But Kyle, you've watched it twice now. So would you like to give me the highlights of what I missed? My boy, my one and done pick, taking home the trophy.
Yeah, it's like you said, I watched it twice. Wasn't able to watch super close on Saturday, so watched a little bit back last night, basically the last 9 holes from leader groups. But even last night, I know Max wins, obviously, but there is a pretty, precarious situation there. 14, 15, 16 were playing very hard, and he left himself on all 3 holes pretty substantial putts for par. Missed one, and then fell one back, and then makes one on 15. Oh, sorry. Yeah, mess up. 13, 14, 15. Makes one on 15 and carries that into 16, right as the same time as Ryder's imploding for a double bogey. So he stands up on 16, and it's a par 3. It's the one back towards the ocean. It stands out pretty distinctly in my mind from when we were there. But I want to say it was playing like 230 into the wind that day, and there had been one birdie all day on 16, and that was somebody holing out from a bunker. And Max steps up, hits his 4 iron, and goes at the pin, which everyone else, the other guys in his group, Sung Jae, they were just playing to the, and Morikawa were just playing to the middle of the green, 2-putting for par, or well, to give it a long run at birdie, 2-putt at minimum, call it par, call it a day. Max goes right at the flag, leaves it about 12 feet short of the pin, and then makes the putt. Only the second birdie at 16 all day. Ryder's imploding, takes the lead, but Keegan Bradley really came on strong in the back too. He yanked one on 18, not quite into the stands, Kyle style, but to the left bunker, and ended up only parring the hole. But if he would have birdied or eagled, it would have, certainly an eagle, obviously, but it would have played out a little different because he was only one back at that time for Max. But so Max birdied 16, par 17, and then birdies 18. But even on 18, he was 240 out and goes for the green in 2 and makes it puts it on the back of green, kind of where Rahm made it from the U.S. Open. But 2-putted from there, got his bird and took her home. But it was really cool to hear. If you haven't listened to the No Laying Up pod it was recorded on Sunday, came out Monday. But Max talk about that shot, and it's some of the stuff you've talked about previously, Mike, as the better golfer in the group. But basically, his concept is like, well, I wasn't really going at the pin. My concept was I knew I was not going to pull it. I don't pull when I'm trying to hit that shot. I don't pull it, so I don't have to worry about that. And if my miss on that shot is going to be short right, where if I flare it out a little bit, where a short right miss there would have been perfectly fine. A 2-putt, a par, I'm still 1 up. I'm good. Or even, I'm good. So he goes, I was trying to protect against the miss of being in the right bunker and just knowing his shot shape and how he was swinging it that day. As a shitty golfer, it was really cool to hear that thought process and talk to him.
He was on No Laying Up both earlier in the week before the event, and then they got him after he won. And so there's probably an hour and a half worth of Max Homa on that podcast in the last week, and he just talks unfiltered about his process, his personal life, PGA Tour. It's actually really cool as him talk. He's late 20s. Very articulate, very mature.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Well, so cool to see him win. Cool to see him. I know he's the SoCal guy, so it's fun to see him pick up the win in near his hometown. Other guys, in the RTG model that had good weeks. Obviously Rahm was at the top of our model, and he did the most uncharacteristic thing on Sunday, which that was very strange to see. But it was okay maybe to see someone else take home the trophy at the end of the day. Finau, Jason Day, Justin Rose, all those guys had good weeks except for Zalatoris, another implosion that I didn't see. On. Yeah, took a lot of Willie Z last week.
Yeah, the back obviously on the back nine on Thursday was tough to watch for him, but he just needed birdie on 18, and he went for it, and ended up in a bad situation and couldn't get up and down to save it. But I texted listener Derek, I wish he would have laid up. It wasn't, you didn't have that front left pin like you do on the last day. Like lay up, throw a dart from 100 yards out and make a putt. It just seems to be, I don't know. Yes, you don't give yourself the eagle opportunity. Maybe he thought he needed 2 to be safe, but come on, Willie needs you to make that cut, man.
Yep, that was a bummer. All right, listener-wise, AJ Bentley taking down the RTG Listener League. Kyle, you finished in second. Seemed bummed about that.
Yeah, it was only 6-6 and was light years ahead at the end of the day, Friday. But Rom hurt because AJ Bentley did not have him. Here is my Saturday rounds of the 6 guys I had in that league. Rom +2, had 1 +4, Rose even. Ryan Palmer +10, 82. Nick Hardy +1, and Robbie Shelton +4. Needless to say,
awful.
I dropped a lot of points on Sunday.
Wow.
I think I had more points entering the day than I did at the end of it.
Wow. JYATD finishing in third. Good stuff there on the Listener League. Jordan, do you happen to have the one and done results handy?
I do have them up and ready to go. Oh wait, I need to do tournament by tournament though, not everything. We had 3 people pick Max Homa, which Kyle and I are hoping that you schmucks picked him way too early in the year, and he goes
LA Country Club's on the calendar this year. That's all I'm saying.
The only way that he earns more at the U.S. Open than he does for my win here is if he wins. So. I think I got as much juice out of him.
At LA Country Club.
He does. I know he does.
But yeah, so winners took home 1.5 million with Max Homa, which is a large chunk of money. Sung Jae got 1 person, and then Jason Day. Kyle, we were both Jason Day. So we made $1.3 million less than Max Homa selection.
Can we get a shout out to who's in last?
I'm gonna say everyone has money now.
Okay. No one's 0 for 3.
Last week, there was a bunch of zeros out there. And now this week, there's a bunch of money. We have Slice of Pepperoni and Rock Chalk, Minnesota. Both have $41,387. And I know Rock Chalk, I was texting with him. He picked Scott Stallings. And I was like, well, that was stupid. There's no justification to ever picking Scott Stallings in something like this. At least Slice of Pepperoni lost out on Will Zalatoris.
Right. But I will also call out, we do have player Buke at $117,000 total. 3 of 3 made cuts. So what I'm interested in seeing is the difference between making cuts and having poor weekend performances and then hitting a couple of winners. And I know
you gotta hit those winners. You're gonna need 6 W's.
He's also not picked any good golfers yet. Have you looked at who he picked? He's got Dean Burmeister, Andrew Putnam, and Russell Henley.
But this is the point. There's only 30 events. You only have to pick from the top 40 in the world.
Yes. Why would you?
You don't ever have to pick Dean Burmeister.
But he did better than Will Zalatoris this week.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Yeah, so Book, I hope you're listening to this because you need to change your strategy for picking.
We almost had an 0 for 3 though. One of the listeners was 0 for 2 and had Tony Finau, who birdied 18 on Thursday to make the cut, and then went unconscious on Friday. But we almost had an 0 for 3. He did what Will to not.
Right. Let's do the Pebble Beach preview. This is our, I think this is our last of the course rotation events. where we'll have three Pebble Beach courses: Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Monterey Peninsula, all located in the Pebble Beach, California area. Last year, my guy, this was the rise of Tommy Tables, holds off Jordan Spieth, who literally almost fell off a cliff, to take down his first PGA Tour win. And I think a lot of people are going to like Tom Hoge again this week. Just a reminder that we do have the cut is after 54 holes. So all players will play all three courses with their amateur partners. There'll be a cut at the top 60 players, and they will all play Pebble Beach on Sunday. So Kyle, what does well at Pebble Beach golf courses?
Oh, you mentioned Tommy Tables won it last year, so I think that leads us to a wedge fest. I really want to look at those guys with dialed in irons and on their approach. It is the smallest greens on tour. So if you're gonna miss them, you better be good at getting up and down as well. You know, there is a funky things happening with T-stats here. You would think accuracy would be huge, but it actually has not been statistically. If you listen to some of the model analysis out there from Rick Rungood and others, that distance actually plays a little higher than you think, but maybe it's not necessarily distance off the tee. It's guys that just can hit a 9-iron instead of a 7-iron into a green, and so maybe those longer hitters help you in that sense. But then again, we are on POA this week, so you always gotta skew towards POA putters and good guys on POA greens.
How do the three courses matter for showdowns this week? Do you try and avoid Spyglass or avoid Pebble? Or
Monterey is by far the easiest from a scoring average standpoint. I'll probably be looking at like 5-1, 4-2 configurations with depending on wind. Spyglass is more protected from the elements than Pebble, but obviously Pebble scoreable too. So if you get a little bit more wind, maybe look at 4 in Monterey and 2 in Spyglass, something like that, where if it's a calm day, you can probably get a little bit of Pebble exposure.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, so then how's the model shaping up? Any surprises so far?
Some of these guys, I'll keep it pretty short because I think we'll talk about them in some of our plays. But leading the way at 50% mention share so far, Matt Fitzpatrick and Maverick McNeely, two guys with great course history here, super strong on the MPI at this point too. But they're going to cost a pretty penny at 10-1 and 9-6, as are the next two guys, Jordan Spieth and Victor Hovland at 10-6 and 10-3. 38% on the mention share, but vastly different MPIs. MPIs liking Victor at this point in time. And we will remind the listeners, last week, Willie Z, even though we all kind of went there, did have a much lower MPI. So maybe that should have been the signal for us. And then, so we've highlighted 4 of the golfers right at the top of the price point. Next, in the next wave at 33% mention share, there is at least some savings. Andrew Putnam still a little bit more expensive, but then Nick Taylor and Troy Merritt only at 7,200, coming in at 33%.
Can I ask, how is Andrew Putnam $9,700? I mean, I get he's made a lot of cuts, but like I'm looking at his last finishes. 36th, 4th, 21st, 35th, 48th, 20th. Is the field just that bad this week, or are they just overvaluing cuts made?
The field is pretty poor. Outside of some of our favorite tournaments in the upper Midwest, this is probably about the lowest field we're going to see in the year. But I mean, he hasn't missed the cut in a long time, to your point.
He hasn't missed a cut since the Barracuda, which was last July.
It's just crazy. Like Tommy Tables for 10,000 or for $300 less, you get Putnam.
No, I agree with you that he's overpriced, but
64th in world golf rankings.
I mean, comparing what he's done though to the others in this field, I mean, since last July, to Mike's point, is a 5th at FedEx St. Jude, a stacked field event, 2nd at the Zozo, 12th at the Shiners, 4th at Sony, and he is just been lights out putting. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to with him. He'll gain 10.5 strokes putting at the Sony Open, which is a good fit for this course.
So you're saying I should pick him?
I would be surprised if there's not some one and done picks, but I will offer this point of caution. His last 4 starts at the AT&T Pro-Am, miscut, 38th and 55th.
Yeah.
But granted, he played in 15, 18, 19, and
Wait.
21. He did not play in 20.
The last 3 years he's played, he's made the cut. And then the 2 previous times before that, there's gaps in there, but like last year he was 6th, then 55th, didn't play, 38th, and then missed cut, and then his other missed cut was 2015. So he's made 3 cuts in a row here. So I guess I'm answering my own question. Still $9,700.
Sounds like he's your guy this week. I don't know why he'd look anywhere else. Why don't you know what, Jordan? Why don't you give us your plays? We let you start last week, and you've already made the case for Andrew Putnam. So who else do you throw in your lineup?
Not in my RTG plays.
Okay.
By the way, I'm starting off up top with Matthew Fitzpatrick. I think it's with this type of team. It was either him or Spieth. I wanted one of them. I saved $500 by going Fitzpatrick, which came in handy later on down the line. Then I went a lot of course history. I've got Seamus Power. Bo Hostler has played well here. And then we talked about this earlier. Kevin Streelman seems to love this place, and for $7,100, I will take that risk. There's not a lot of love. I don't know enough about Troy Merritt. I think he's in there at $7,200, high up on our model. But am I going to trust a guy I don't know at all? Probably not. Like Harry Hall, I'm not going to pick him either.
You wanted to play as Harry Hall this week.
No. And then I am doing a little Nick Hardy as well.
All right. Well, I'll back you on the Fitzpatrick, and I'm actually a little concerned with what I see in mention share at this point in time. I was kind of eyeing him for GPP because I thought we might get a little bit of a ownership break just given who's around him.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. But he really does everything well that we're looking for here. Obviously, just a consistent golfer, but strokes gained approach is good. Good putter from 5 to 10 feet, especially when you skew it towards POA. Greens and regulation, the proximity from those wedge buckets. So intrigue there, and he's getting a lot of love. So a lot of the guys at DK Nation's on him, Sobel's on him, Rick Gaiman at Golf Digest, Campbell over at Fantasy Data, and McCuller at CBS Sports. So I think you're onto something there, Jordan. But he is 10-1. So you're going to have to try to find a little bit of savings after that. Mike, do you have your eye on anyone? Well, first off, what do you think about Fitz? And do you have anywhere to save some money after that?
I think that Fitz is going to attract a lot of ownership because he's at that 10-1 price point. I think he's arguably the best player in the field, and he's the 3rd most expensive. So I might lean there. I might lean there in cash unless you just want to eat chalk and GPP and then find some differentiation. So if you do, I like Troy Merritt this week. Minnesota boy, Spring Lake Park High School, played out at Boise State. Troy has finished. Yeah, there you go. Troy has finished 4th, 16th, 25th, and 8th in his last 4 outings at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So a lot of really good course history. A guy that can just really get it going sometimes. And so I think at 7,200, that's a really good value to find some relief. I'll also back Nick Hardy. Our guy Sobel is on him. Nick's been playing really well this fall. And I think at 7,700, he's probably still a little undervalued for this field. And I think before we're done with the West Coast swing, we're going to get a little bit of TV time on his swag setup. And this might be the spot.
Let's do it.
I don't mind the Merritt play. I will admit that is a bet this week for me at 100. He's had some good course history here, and he just, again, has the profile of the type of guy that can pop. We know somebody that's cheap and kind of a bomb player is going to pop, so hopefully it's him. One person that I'm kind of surprised at this point when it comes to the model that isn't getting more love is Seamus Power. I've heard him talked about in some of the betting circles, but at this point in time, he's only down at 22% mention share and kind of middling on the MPI. Campbell of Fantasy Data shouts him out. He is on the Rotoballer plays at this point in time. Pro Golf Now, and then John H over at the Lions has highlighted him. So we'll see as some of our we still probably have 6 to 8 experts to get in if he shoots up the board, but it's probably a place I'm going to look. He is at that 9.8 price point, but if he offers me a possible pivot on in a GPP style lineup, I'll gladly click.
All right. How about tiers, Kyle, to round things out on the Pebble Beach preview?
I think the really tough decision this week is going to be, at the top of the board. Once we get down into, tier 5, tier 4, 5, 6, you're going to be throwing darts. It's going to be hard to really differentiate plays, and you're going to kind of have to try to take some individual stands. Tier 4 might be a little interesting. You have Ben Griffin, David Lipsky, Thomas Dietrich, Alex Smalley, some guys that are getting some heat, at least in the, the Twitter circles. But so got a decision to make there. But tier 1 is going to be a tough one. You have Fitzpatrick, you have Spieth, and Hovland. And it's really tough to fade Spieth's history here. But Rick Gehman goes into this a little bit, is just he hasn't been playing near as well this year going in as he has the last 2. So if you're really just looking at that course fit from a data and how the guy's been playing standpoint, Fitzpatrick's probably a click. Hovland, we haven't seen as much lately, and if he's not dialed in with his irons and missing the greens, we've seen him struggle getting up and down. So I think there's risk there. So if you just want that safe, consistent play, I think Fitzpatrick is your guy.
All right, good stuff. We're on to the name game as our last bit of the evening. And so last week for the Torrey Pines Anchorman replacement name game, Kyle, that you put together, we had Hayden Buckley, Wyndham Clark, Joseph Bramlett, and Nick Hardy. The listeners with Windy C, Weatherman Windy C, finished with 78.5 points. They took down the win for the week. I finished in last with Hayden Buckley, which is unfortunate because now the listeners have passed me. Both Kyle and the listeners have passed me in the season-long standings. So I think we might need to figure out something that happens if you lose to the listeners.
We probably shouldn't have let Wyndham Clark fall all the way to the listeners. He was gaining some steam. We just wanted to be a little contrarian with the name game, possibly. Learned our lesson.
All right. We got one. There's a little bit of a process I was putting. I had a really good idea that I wanted to do for the name game, and I was thinking, man, it'd be really cool if I could find 6 players in the field that went to Stanford. Well, I couldn't. I can only find 3.
Perfect.
And then I thought, well, it'd be really cool if I could find 6 players that went to Stanford and Cal. But then I could only find 5 total. So then I just decided I'm going to find as many players that just went to West Coast colleges, and we're going to put some teams together. So this is the mostly California plus 1 Washington college alum name game, West Coast Showdown. There are 4 teams. There are 4 teams, 3 duos, and then 1 trio of scrubs. So this is what I intended to do, but you tell me if you like this. Total points, period. If you pick the trio of scrubs, you get 3 players contributing points, but they are all scrubs.
At first, I was going to say you should just get the 2 best of the 3. It's a best ball situation. But then I see you have James Hahn in there, so maybe we just need to go all 3.
All right, so that's what you want to do? Just total points for your team?
Yeah, it's like a risk reward. I like it. It's like the Anon risk reward challenge of the week or whatever the PGA Tour does.
There you go. All right, so here's the deal. Here are the teams. You can start with the Stanford duo of Maverick McNeely and Joseph Bramlett. They're going to total 17,000. as the pair. You can have the Pepperdine San Diego State duo of Andrew Putnam and Scott Piercy, totaling 16,900. Joel Damon, Washington University, and Brandon Wu, Stanford, totaling 16,100. Or you can choose the trio of Cal teammates Michael Kim and James Hahn and Fresno State alum Nick Watney, totaling 18,900.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Wow.
So who's going first?
All right. Well, usually we let the
Loser.
usually the loser goes, right?
Yeah, we probably need to be more formal in some of that, but yeah, go for it. Because the game designer really shouldn't take first choice. It should be
You're
like
right. Yeah, you know what? I don't
loser.
want to. I think that you're right. I agree with that. I agree with that. Jordan, as the second loser, you get to go first.
Uh-oh. Andrew Putnam there. He's looking at me. This
is your chance.
He's looking at me right there. Let me assess the model here quick.
Jordan,
You don't have to
need to drive. I think you need to drive to Iowa tomorrow and go put a hundo on Andrew Putnam. It's just screaming it.
But then I'd have to be in Iowa.
No, fair.
This is your chance.
Listeners.
As I'm decked out in Iowa gear for anyone that cannot see on YouTube right now.
Yeah, hold on. I'm doing some research here. Pretty sure I don't want a guy named Scott Piercy. I'm going Mav and Bramlett. No
right.
Putnam. No Putnam.
Good pick. Maverick McNeely has great course history here. I'm very surprised Joseph Bramlett went to, and maybe this is just profiling by me, that he went to Stanford. You hear about how great of presence and how smart Mav is, especially when it comes to the player committee stuff, but never hear Bramlett talked about.
That's because he's not any good at golf.
I like Joseph Bramlett. I've played a little bit lately.
Oh, his Wikipedia page. One of the things is he was one of 2 PGA Tour golfers of African American descent on the 2011 PGA Tour, along with Tiger Woods.
Maybe he should be more like Michael Walrath and update his own LinkedIn.
How is that like?
Wikipedia.
2011. And he finished 196th on the money list in 2011 and lost his tour card. But
all right, Kyle, who are you taking?
Well, now I'm doing a Joseph Bramlett deep dive here. He has not missed a cut since Bermuda in Halloween, by the way, and has 2 top 15s in there. Well, Jordan went with where I was probably going to go. But I don't love Joel this week. He hasn't picked up the club in a while. I'm a little scared there, but I don't really like. I'm gonna do it. Give me Putnam and Scotty P.
I thought you'd go with the underdogs.
No, I don't like.
Oh, that's where I'm going. I'm gonna show you guys what's up. This was rigged from the start, and I'm gonna take the 3 players.
So now we know Joel Dahman and Brandon Wu are going to win.
Well, Mike just basically needs one of his 3 to make the cut.
But none of those 3 will be in contention. So,
all right, bet Nick Watney to win.
All right. Well, last point, Kyle. Do you have any betting advice for the week? You already said that you may have a ticket on Troy Barrett at 100. What else is on your card?
I probably should have pimped this earlier in the show, but I didn't since the whole freaking betting world and PGA, the spear was on Max Homa last week. But hey, first outright of the calendar year. Also had a pretty nice top 40 parlay. Ben Griffin, Callum Tarrant, and Wendy C. To hit that. So it was a good week, and we're now positive on the calendar year and still to the moon since we started this endeavor. But this week, 5 guys outright and top 20. Tom Hoagie, Alex Smalley, Ben Griffin, Russell Knox, and Troy Merritt. Probably, since we don't have first round leaders, in which I really like to bet, so that annoys me, I'll probably sprinkle some matchups or parlays, something crazy. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Follow along, hop on the train.
Sweet. Well, the event starts on Thursday now because I don't think the PGA Tour has a problem conflicting with the Pro Bowl on Sunday.
I liked Wednesday though; it was kind of fun. But yeah,
it does. I feel like we get to the show and we have a little more built out. But yes, the tournament starts on Thursday. We'll be back to the normal schedule, and I look forward to checking out Pebble Beach. It's still making me jealous, all this warm weather golf, and we still got a whole bunch of snow, but still a few more weeks to go, right?
yeah. One last betting thought I should mention: if you're still with us, you should look at the players' odds because DraftKings has the live guys in the odds. So you can get, for example, Tom Kim at 35-1. Why is Tom Kim 35-1 to players? He should be. So
no, that's a great point. It's a great point. All right. Well, we'll be back in a week. Of course, you can find our content on our YouTube channel, Reading the Green. Follow us on any of the major podcast platforms, and of course on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS. And we'll be back in a week with the results of the Pebble Beach and continue on to the waste management. See ya.